just mentioned about the type of recruiter from order taker to talent advisor, is that the model also described on CLC, Recruiting Roundtable? Is that the same or similar or?
The Recruiting Roundtable in the U.S.?
Yeah, under Corporate Leadership Council.
Corporate Leadership Council? Yeah. Well, that's more focused on leadership development and leadership growth than it is around recruitment.
That's the recruiting part.
No, I know the people there. I know them all. So.
That's also the talent advisor role versus the order taker.
Yeah, yeah. And there's been a huge movement in the U.S. to try to move to that, be a business partner and have a seat at the table and all that kind of thing. Frankly, I think a lot of that is just bunk. And I've been teaching that in the university. I don't even teach it anymore because I can't stand it anymore. Because no HR person that I know has ever had a seat at the table. It's almost never that they have a seat at the table. And I just look at facts. It's not. I don't agree with it, but I just look at facts. And there's a handful of companies, maybe 20 or 30.
This is where Kevin and I start disagreeing. So I just want
that really have a person that the CEO would go to and ask for advice, serious advice about people. A few companies do have that, but it's not a general trend, even though for 10 years we've been trying to teach HR people and encourage them to take on those roles, become strategic. And I'm not sure what the issue is. I've tried to analyze it over and over, but whenever I go into companies, and I go to many companies, and I'm often called in by the CEO or the COO, and they'll sit down and they'll say, I'm really not happy with my human resources organization. They don't get it. They're not able to answer the questions I've got. I keep getting, fundamentally what they're saying is I'm getting yesterday's answers to tomorrow's problems. And they just don't understand where I'm going. And they don't come to me proactively with suggestions about things to do. And I go to HR and they say, I try to go proactively and the CEO won't listen to me. So we've got a huge credibility barrier between HR and the CEOs in many organizations. Often not deserved. Often this HR person is very strategic, but it's just a credibility gap between them and the senior leadership team.
Can I answer that question?
Yes.
It's slightly different. Because I've been tracking people for 30 years now. Every single function, from an accountant to become a CFO, and they do our CFOs because I worked for one in 1972. People who get promoted in accounting, engineering, marketing, manufacturing, operations, it doesn't matter. Person who gets promoted from a staff position to a managerial position gets promoted because they can lead projects and lead people. People get moved from a manager position to director position, managing managers. Not only can you do that, but they can also work multifunctionally. And they also start thinking strategically. People get promoted to vice presidents, think strategically, multifunctionally, tactically, and functionally, and broad-based and business-wise. The reason sometimes HR doesn't get into those experiences is because they went through compliance and got into those spots. So it's not that they're not strategic, it's that the person who got the HR role never had the experience in their early career to become strategic. Those HR people that I see, and I've talked to some of them here today, are quite strategic, but if I bet I went into your background, you were strategic when you were 22 and you got projects and you got assignments. So I've placed hundreds of HR people and talked with hundreds who are very strategic. You just follow their path and you understand how the path, and their paths are very common. But if you get up through compliance, you never did multifunction, you don't know systems, you don't know projects, yes, you're not going to have that credibility. But I think so I cannot make it universal. I can look at how people grow and develop, and I can see where people have fallen, gotten to a position they shouldn't have been in. So I think you can be strategic, but you don't just go to the strategic table, you were there already.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with that at all. But I think many people in HR got promoted to the positions they're in, totally contrary to your interviewing scheme. They got promoted because of skills and competencies and certifications that they had, not because they were competent and able to do what the organization needed.
I think we got to go on.
I know people have all kinds of certifications. And
I can hear that you're very passionate about this.
Yeah. I think we're both very passionate. It's been very frustrating for me because I spent years trying to help HR change, and I just feel like I'm beating my head on the wall.
Kevin's actually 10 years younger than me. So.
We noticed.